My name is Denise Evans with Butler Evans Real Estate. We are commercial and investment real estate brokers, but I also happen to be the expert on Alabama tax sales. That is the topic of this video. First, let's differentiate between tax liens and tax certificates and deeds. What we call the newer system is tax lien sales, where investors bid down the redemption interest rate and have no possession rights until they foreclose on their liens. The older system is the tax certificates that become tax deeds. Investors at the auction bid up the price, and some or all of the overbid earns interest. Investors are entitled to immediate possession. This is still used by some counties. Everything previously auctioned under the older system and now available by purchase from the state of Alabama directly or on the secondary market still uses the older law. Tax deed possession rights. The tax certificate investor has the right to immediate possession upon receipt of the tax certificate. Possession can be gained through do-it-yourself possession of abandoned property, or the courts by an ejectment lawsuit, or by the owner signing a lease with the investor. The investor can obtain a tax deed 3 years after the auction when it surrenders its certificate and is given a tax deed by the probate judge of the county where the real estate is located. Someone must be in possession of real estate before it can file a quiet title lawsuit. Possession is very important to tax deed investors. The quiet title lawsuit is a court ruling that the plaintiff owns the property free and clear of any other liens, redemption rights, or other claims. It is usually the final step for an older system investor to make sure they have perfect rights to the property. A statute of limitations says that if you do not take some action by a certain deadline, you cannot use the courts to enforce your rights or to prosecute wrongdoers. In normal real estate, there is a 10-year statute of limitations for things like rival claimants disputing title to land or boundary line disputes. This is adverse possession. In tax deed sales, there is a short statute of limitations of 3 years from the date of the tax deed for the investor to enforce its rights or lose them. Well, what rights need enforcing? The investor might need to enforce its right to possession through an ejectment lawsuit. The investor might need to quiet title to get a court order that all redemption rights have expired or that it is too late for anyone to claim the tax sale was void. Quieting title is usually required before an investor can get title insurance so it can sell the property and give a warranty deed or mortgage the property. In what has come to be called the RIOPROP decision, the Alabama Court of Civil Appeals said that because of the short statute of limitations, if an investor did not gain exclusive and continuous possession of tax deed property within 3 years after it could have demanded a deed, the former owner can get the property back and not pay the investor anything at all. So here's the RIOPROP story. It'll make it a little bit easier to understand. The investor at a tax certificate auction bought the rights to a beachfront condo with a very large overbid, which also earned 12% per year interest. The total purchase price was $36,826.16. Slightly over 7 years later, which means slightly over 4 years after the tax deed date, the investor sued to have the owner kicked out of the condo and title cleared in its own name. The owner or its mortgage lender could still redeem, but redemption charges had climbed to $117,372.79. The bank with the mortgage decided to fight things because paying lawyers was cheaper than the redemption price tag. The bank argued that the investor could not use the courts to enforce its rights because the short statute of limitations had expired approximately a year earlier. The court agreed. If the investor could not enforce its rights, then what would happen to the real estate? Where does title go? The court ruled the former owner could get it back and not pay any redemption charges at all. Now, you can read this decision. Just do a search on RealProp versus BBVA Compass. You can search on the case name and read the entire decision. Do not be confused by the court awarding the investor $5,190.36. That number was just a made-up number to make it harder to appeal because the court awarded the investor something. It has nothing to do with anything in the real world. And the lessons out of this: if you are the tax deed investor, make sure you take possession and are able to prove it later if that becomes an issue. If you are a vulture investor, buy out the former owner's rights via a quitclaim deed and RealProp the tax deed investor who failed to take possession. Well, I hope you learned something from this video. Thank you for watching it. If you like this, please subscribe to my channel. A review would be welcome. And also visit my website at www.butlerevansrealestate.com, where I have additional educational materials for real estate investors and distressed property investors.